Well, good morning everybody on a chilly, cloudy, dreary, kind of miserable day here in Maryland. Welcome back to the channel. My name is Brad. You're watching Firewood at the Furnace, and I got to tell you that the live stream for our 1-year anniversary on Thursday night turned out awesome, and I thank every one of you for that. It's amazing how many people showed up. Like I said in the live stream, I was hoping if I had 20 or 30 people, just enough to cover the prizes that we gave away, I would have been thankful. But I think 160, 170 people was the number, and it just totally took me by surprise. I was kind of off guard, kept me on my toes. I learned a few things there. Obviously the camera position was a struggle in the beginning, but we'll work that out coming up in the future. If you missed the live, we're going to start doing those once a month. It's going to be called Thirsty Thursdays. And we'll do that on a Thursday night, one time a month, get everybody together and chat. And so yeah, that worked out really well. So you see the splitter sitting here. We're gonna fire this thing up this morning. We've got some work to do. Stick around, I'll show you what's going on. So in last week's video, we bucked up the 2 loads of logs that were laying here, the small load of ash and then the larger load of the maple logs. So I came over a little bit this past week, and I had a little bit of time in the evenings, and I bucked up the ash that was there. It's stacked up here, and then I got started bucking up splitting the maple, and it's here, but there's still some more maple that needs split. That little bit there, and then there's some over here behind the splitter. So we're going to get to that, and there was a couple poplar sticks mixed in with that maple that I separated and threw over here. So we'll get to that also, and we're going to see how much of this we can get stacked. Now, I didn't split this into the dump trailer like I normally would, because it's not where I was going to stack it. Obviously, we're working up through row 4 down there, and ideally I would just continue up with that row. But it's been pretty muddy. We've had a lot of rain, a little bit of snow and sleet the past week or so the yard's still pretty soft. So I don't want to load the trailer up and back down in there and make ruts in the yard. So we piled it up right here. I'll just start on the end of row 4. I'll get my divider set up on this end, and then we'll start on this side and work back towards the middle of the row. That way we don't have to carry it. The dump trailer's sitting here full. I got another load from the tree service the other day. That's all ash. Some of it's a little big, some of it's a little gnarly. It's not the nice straight wood that we've been getting, but it's sitting on the trailer, and I haven't dumped it yet just because I'm going to make some room here. So we'll get the log splitter started, let it get nice and warm, and we'll put the splitter to work. Still waiting on the outfeed table, but it should be here this week. I did talk to him the other day on the phone for quite a while, so we'll see. When it shows up, it'll certainly be the next video. This bending over stuff gets old. All right, so we got just about all the rest of that maple split thrown over here in the pile next to the pallets where we're going to get started. There's a little bit more poplar on that side than I thought, so we got that split. You know, I'll know that I use that for campfire wood. I mixed in with my bundles. So we split that a little bit smaller. Still a couple rounds of poplar there that we'll get to eventually. But there was a little bit more wood there than I thought, so it took a little bit longer than I thought. So right now we're going to get started on setting up the pallet dividers on this end and see how much of this we can get stacked. So there's room for about 4 more bins here that the dividers are not set up for yet. So I've got my 4 pallets laid out in the area where the dividers are going to go. Got my little coffee can of nails down there. We'll get these dividers set up, start stacking. Well, there you have it. Row 4 dividers are up. That's the end of the row right here. We're going to stop there. And now we're ready to start filling. I'm excited to get row 4 done. because then we get to start back at the beginning all the way over on row 1. Let's get stacking. So some people stack their wood and separate it by species, and other people just stack it as they get it, as it comes in. As you know, I stack my wood and separate it by species. When I started doing this, I wasn't really sure if people were going to call and ask for specific wood, and that didn't really happen this past year. People just called and wanted firewood. So it's nice to separate it, and you know, as it seasons and the bark starts to come off and the color changes on the wood, sometimes it's hard to identify. It's hard enough for me to identify the wood when I'm cutting it and when I'm splitting it. I mean, obviously the ones that I get all the time are easy to figure out, but every once in a while I get something that stumps me, and I either have to ask you all or do some research. But what I do, because the wood changes a little bit as it dries and seasons, is I made up a chart that I keep track of what I stack where, so that later on when the orders are coming in, I know what I've got left, where I stacked what, things like that. So here in a few minutes, when we get back over to the truck, I'll show you the little chart that I made up to keep track of what's here. I'm gonna speed you up. We'll get some of this stacked, because here in about 45 minutes, I've got an appointment and I've got somewhere to be. So we'll see what we can get done. So there's 1/3 of a cord, or a face cord if you will, but a little dent in the stack over here. So there's probably, I don't know, another maybe close to 2/3 of a cord left in the pile. But we got that stacked. The wind has picked up. It's starting to drizzle rain. I didn't think it was supposed to rain today, but I've got to leave here in about 15 or 20 minutes anyway. So we're going to stop there for the day and wrap things up. I'm going to take you over here to the truck and show you the little chart that I made up that I referred to earlier, in case anybody thinks it's a good idea. It's probably a little trivial, but it works for me. So this is what I do. I keep it on a little clipboard in the truck with me all the time, and I have written down basically a map of the yard. So the woods is over here on this side. Row 1's all the way back up against the fence. Row 2, row 3, row 4 that we're working on now. Row 3's full, so I write down what species of wood is in each pallet on each side. So there's 2 rows there. Eventually, as we talked about on the live stream, I may start stacking three rows in between each divider to make a full cord. But I'm fortunate enough to have enough space here to where it's not necessary for me to do that. I can keep the air gap. But I write down the species of the wood. We are working our way up through row 4 now. We know that right here on this end, we just stacked some maple. So we'll fill that in now while we're thinking about it. So now we got maple there on the end. So that's what I do. So anyway, that's going to be it for today. I hope you enjoyed today's video. Got to see a little splitter action. We did some stacking, put up some dividers on the pallets. But thanks for joining us, and please hit the like and subscribe button. Don't forget, that the Facebook page is still there too. For those of you who do Facebook, head over there, give me a thumbs up, give me a follow. I post everything that I post on YouTube there, but I have a couple other things that I'll throw in on Facebook once in a while that you don't always get to see on YouTube. So if you don't mind, head over there. But that's going to be it. I hope you all have a great week. We'll see you next time.